We didn't get it done, and we have to get it done, and we have to understand.
This is unfair.
And we didn't get it done.
This is unfair. You don't know what you speak about. You don't know what you speak about. Do you think it's easy to make priorities?
But
the point is that we didn't get it done. It's not anybody individually. We didn't get it done.
Good morning, Hamilton. Good morning, Stony Creek. Bonjour, mes amis. We're having an election in the middle of the most serious economic crisis in a generation. And the ballot question in this election is, which government will help us weather tough times? We're not choosing the dad of the year. We're not choosing Sweater Man. We're not choosing Attack Dog of the year. And we're not choosing a president.
Anyway, let's look at the results of the election and in the context of our polling and the slightly still sort of muddy waters of the day after. How close did we come in the CPAC Nanos polling project in this election?
Well, it's interesting. In the holiday weekend tracking that we did, the tracking for Sunday night was actually, which was the last night of tracking, was actually bang on. What it really shows is that a lot of the movement took place in favor of Stephen Harper around the Thanksgiving table when friends and relatives and family were gathering to share their turkey. When we roll up the 3 days, the first 2 days...
Conciliatory Stephen Harper in Montreal talking to reporters, inviting you and the other opposition leaders to come forward urgently with very specific policy proposals for what should be in the budget. Now, you've resisted that so far. Why is that?
Well, it's his budget, not mine. And he's in government and I'm in opposition. My job is different than his. My job is to figure out what are the questions we need to ask of this budget to decide whether it's in the national interest. And those questions are, does it protect the most vulnerable in our society? Does it make investments that give us a better future? And does it help us to get out of this recession faster? Those are the kind of questions I'll be using to evaluate the budget. And my job is to evaluate the budget, not put it together.
Well, with all due respect, Mr. Ignatieff, that's a standard political response, and we keep hearing that these are no ordinary times. Do you think that Canadians may be demanding and expecting more of their opposition leaders?
The bottom line here is he's the Prime Minister, I'm not. It's his budget, not mine. And my job is to decide on the 27th of January whether it's in the national interest or not. And that's the responsibility that I'm going to discharge.
Okay, so how much of this exercise for you will also be leaving yourself enough room to maneuver politically with what will be a very critical decision for you, perhaps one that the Liberals will have to make on their own about whether to let this budget pass or the government survive?
Sure, it's a big decision, but it's not just a political decision, Sue. It's about whether we've got a government that's up to the challenge of guiding this country through the most serious economic crisis it's faced in a generation. And that's really the bigger question.
As you know, the Liberal Party has been very general in its wish list for this budget, extremely general. So we don't have a lot in terms of specifics. This government will have to take responsibility for those specifics, but as I say, I think we'll have a budget listening, as I have to Canadians across the country, one that addresses the general needs of this country both immediately and as we go forward. So, you know, I do think there's some common themes emerging across the country, and we may not agree on everything, but I think we will have a budget that broadly responds to public demands. Obviously, we will not do things that we think are not in the public interest, and that's, you know, a bottom line for any government, but we are listening, and I hope we'll find some consensus.
Remember, it's not my budget. It's Mr. Harper's budget, and it's his responsibility. I'm not writing the budget. I'm not in consultation with Mr. Harper about the budget. What I've said is I will evaluate the budget when I see it and make a judgment in the national interest. I want to be as productive and constructive as I can at that point. But he's the one who has to take the responsibility The key question is, who takes responsibility? It's the Prime Minister's responsibility to write that budget, not mine. Remember the context. We are not living normal times. We are living a truly exceptional and extraordinary period, which is Mr. Harper's responsibility.
What is he doing in the uniform? General Hogan, please! Oh, you went too far. I must report this. It would be worth my life if I do not report this.
It's only until tomorrow, and he's going to take it off again. After he steals the tank.
Oh?
From the Panzer Division.
Oh?
And brings it here into the barracks.
Oh, I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
In June, we set out 4 tests for Stephen Harper. Mr. Harper, you've failed all 4. You've failed to protect the most vulnerable. You've failed to create jobs. You've failed to defend our health care. You've failed to restore our public finances. After 4 years of drift, 4 years of denial, 4 years of division, 4 years of discord, Mr. Harper, your time is up.
It's the responsibility of members of Parliament to do their homework, to be there, available all the time on the public's business. And surely, as The Economist magazine pointed out a few days ago, surely a government of a mature nation like Canada can walk and chew gum at the same time. You don't need to destroy the functioning of democracy in order to consult on the budget or respond to a disaster.
The silliest thing a politician can do is second-guess the coach. I mean, the whole country will be second-guessing the coach, but I'm not getting into that game.
They all know who they're cheering for, the vast majority for Canada, of course. You know, it was interesting. Michael Ignatieff, I know he wasn't wearing a hockey jersey, and I told you I'd only speak to people in jerseys, but he just happened to be at the Aboriginal Pavilion across the road, and so I talked to him, and, you know, his Russian background, so he was a little bit twixt in between about who he was pulling for.
Hello.
Hello.
Your grandparents died 2 years before you were born, so you never even knew them. You know, why now, as a grown-up, did you write this book? Did you tell their story?
I think it's because I never knew them. I think that's really what it is. The book is an attempt to reach out to 2 people I never knew who sent me a kind of message across the grave, and the message was contained in their memoirs and their photographs. I think had I known them, I might not have even written it, because I would have known them. This was an attempt to get to know people who died before I was born.
Is there a sense, too, of learning about the Russian side of your family? I mean, you grew up a Canadian kid.
Oh, I think that's true. I come from this kind of split inheritance. My middle name is Grant. Nothing could be more Scottish, Presbyterian, and Southern Ontario than that. And then my last name's Ignatieff, so I come from this kind of double side. At some point very early on in my life, I chose the Russian side. I chose what was foreign. I chose what was strange. I chose what was exotic. I chose what was kind of...
That chamber may be shut and locked by Stephen Harper, but we know what Canadians want us to do today. We know that they want us to be here at work, and we're here, Senate and members of Parliament all together.
Let's observe the effect of Evian on your body.
Come on, I said the hip, hop, the hip it to the hip, hip, hop it, you don't stop, the rock it to the bang, bang, boogie, say up, jump, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie beat.